What's up, everyone? It's Caddy with Money Vesting. I literally spent the entire 20 minutes recording this freaking video and my audio was not on. Man, this is so frustrating. But in this video, I wanted to talk about Adobe. I'm literally going to be going over everything again. Make sure that you drop a like and really appreciate the time that I'm spending here. So please make sure that you drop a like and subscribe to the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But in this video, I wanted to talk about Adobe and why they might be in a very vulnerable situation right now moving forward, because everything that I've learned about the company over the last few months, and there was a couple more videos that came out over the last 24 hours, I wanted to address that and really go over why I feel like there's going to be a potential threat to Adobe's dominance moving forward. And the title might be something around that. And we're going to talk about, is this it for Adobe? Like, is this the actual end, or, if the company still has potential moving forward. So hope you guys enjoyed this video and find it helpful. Make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe, and the link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below. We've got limited spots available for everyone to join. So again, 16% annual discount that's available till the end of March. So you can take advantage of that down in the comment section below. So the reason why this is becoming a bigger problem for Adobe, and by the way, Adobe on the day was slightly higher, I think, a little bit over 2.7%, so trading as much as $333. However, it is still down from its all-time high, still down over 50%, so selling off quite a bit still from its all-time high. So it has obviously been pulled back quite a bit, and there's also a separate issue going on with Adobe with their Figma acquisition, with Department of Justice kind of backstopping it, and being a hurdle, being a challenge there, and having that lawsuit. And that's something Adobe is dealing with as well. They are going to be reporting earnings tomorrow, so March 15th after the bell. They are expected to report earnings, and we're going to get some more insight into how their business is doing. The EPS estimate is $3.68 with a revenue of $4.6 billion expected. Now, the reason why Adobe is gonna be in a little bit of a sticky situation here, and for the longest time, I've believed Adobe to be a very, very strong SaaS company, software as a service company, and it's got a very sticky business model. However, we do have a new platform in town, and that is going to be DaVinci Resolve. And DaVinci Resolve is a platform that's actually owned by Blackmagic Design. I'll go over the company here in just a minute, but if you took a look at some of the YouTube videos, and these are editors and content creators that I've been following for a long time. I mean, Peter McKinnon, you may have heard of him. Cole, you may have heard of him as well. Matt, we got Cassie. There's a lot of people that I follow on YouTube that are editors, right? Filmmakers, video editors this is like literally their bread and butter. And if you take a look at some of the videos they've posted with the headlines, in fact, 12 hours ago, Peter McKinnon posted a video, "I'm giving up Premiere Pro for DaVinci Resolve." Cold posted a video 7 months ago, which has almost 1 million hits, why I fully switched to DaVinci Resolve and why you should too. Another video, DaVinci Resolve first 6 months after switching. Then we've got another video from Jared, Premiere Pro versus DaVinci Resolve Studio, why I left Premiere Pro after 17 years. So we got a video from Matt, goodbye Premiere Pro, why editors are switching to DaVinci Resolve. So this is becoming a much bigger problem for Adobe Premiere Pro, because the influence that these video editors and filmmakers have on the community is pretty substantial. And if a lot of people start switching over, well, that's actually going to affect Adobe's dominance in video editing. I'll go over some of the reasons as to why I believe the switch is happening, the top 5 reasons why people are switching away from Premiere Pro over to DaVinci Resolve. I'll go over those reasons, but first, I want to talk a little bit about the price itself. And has obviously seen a pretty substantial drop from its all-time highs of $700, right? So it's already down. And we have left a few gaps. Those gaps have been filled. There's a very strong support sitting at $275 and as low as $315. So from a technical standpoint, those are some support levels to watch. But I'm going to have to scratch my fair value in Adobe for now. As excited as I was before talking about Adobe and the fair value being as low as, I think it was closer to 275 or 250, might even be lower. I have to double check. I'm going to have to scratch that because there is a lot of uncertainty with this company with regards to Figma, and now another with regards to DaVinci Resolve. So the main reason as to why we're seeing a big shift away from Premiere Pro over to DaVinci is price. Price, right? Price matters. And this is my personal invoices. Like, I've actually been using Adobe for like over 2 years now. And every single month I pay like $57.24 to Adobe. right? Because I want to use their platform, Premiere Pro. I'm kind of familiar with it for video editing, right? I want to export and upload videos to YouTube. So I've been using their services for a long time. And they've been raising prices over time, right? So they've got the pricing power, at least, that's what I thought they did. And they still do to some extent because of their dominance in the video editing space. But that's a pretty substantial amount, right? If you compare that to 2 years, 3 years worth of payments, I've easily paid them over $1,000 or $1,500 for just using Premiere Pro, Photoshop, After Effects, and some of their applications that they sell. So the biggest selling point that DaVinci has, that it's actually a one-time fee. There's no subscription. There's no SaaS. There's no software as a service. There's a one-time fee that you pay $295, and you get access to their entire software for life, right? For their platform for life. And they give you more additional tools, right? With respect to Blackmagic Design, there's a lot of hardware, video editing tools, and software, other things that are also included with this one-time purchase. But that's the biggest point here, is the pricing. Instead of a recurring SaaS model like Adobe has, DaVinci is a one-time fee, and you get access to video editing software for life. So that's number one. They also do sell a lot of other hardwares that people have been taking advantage of. So professional cameras, we got DaVinci Resolve Fusion software, a lot of different things that the company also sells. A little bit about the company here. So again, they are based out of Melbourne, Australia, I believe. So they do sell some of the leading innovators and manufacturers of creative video technology. And again, they have a long history of post-production editing and engineering, with extensive experiences in high-end telecine, film and post, harnessed with a real passion for perfection. And again, you can read more about the company and what it does. It's not a public company. I've already looked. So it's a privately owned local company in Australia that pretty much sells and manufactures this software. So pricing is number one. And these are some of the other reasons as to why I believe, or what I've noticed and what I've learned, why people are switching away from Premiere Pro over to DaVinci Resolve. The second thing is crash, right? So crash, in other words, how many times the software itself crashes on you. Now, I've personally not experienced it because I'm not working with like super high resolution 4K, 8K, 16K video files. It's, very basic procedure for myself. So I haven't experienced a lot of crashes for Premiere Pro. It's pretty stable for me, but I can imagine, what it's like when you are rendering files that are 4K, 8K, 16K, like super high res, working with these large files on these big projects, especially for filmmakers and video editors. If the software keeps crashing on you, that can be really, really frustrating. And what I've learned from watching those videos and what I've actually done, in my research, is that DaVinci Resolve has very fewer crashes. It doesn't crash as much as Premiere Pro. So that is number one big plus point there. The third is going to be faster, right? The software itself is faster in terms of rendering and exporting. So what I've learned is, and this is true for Premiere Pro, if you're rendering, let's say, a 10 to 20 minute video, it can take you anywhere from 4 to 8 minutes to export that video, right? So that's the export timeline. With DaVinci Resolve, what I've learned and what I've heard is that you can get that number down to as low as 2 minutes. 2 minutes. That's absolutely crazy. That's saving you so much time. It's making you more efficient and more it's going to be faster, right? The whole process is going to be faster. The turnaround time is going to be faster. The viewer doesn't have to wait super long for the video to export. The render and all that procedure is going to be much faster. So that is another big plus point. And if that's actually true, I might even consider myself switching over from Premiere Pro over to DaVinci Resolve. Because look, a couple of things as a video creator I care about is obviously the pricing, right? I want something that's more cost efficient. Crash, it doesn't really bother me much because I'm not working with super high res files. But yes, if it's faster, if the export process, because sometimes I'm like waiting 10 minutes for a video to export just so I can upload it, right? So if it's faster, that's definitely going to be a big selling point for me personally. Another thing is the autosave feature. So for Premiere Pro, there is autosave, but it's at a time recurring event. So like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes. But with DaVinci Resolve, what I've learned is that it is real time. It is saving on the go as you're making those changes. So even if there's anything like software crashes or your power runs out of battery or whatever, your computer runs out of battery and power goes out, as soon as you open back the software, it's going to be updated. It's going to have that autosave feature. So you're not going to lose any work, With Premiere Pro, I don't think there's any promises like that. And then finally, with the hardware, as a video editor, like I don't personally care about this, but DaVinci Resolve does sell a lot of hardware. As I mentioned earlier, they do have, all these different things like keyboards and other tools to make you more efficient in the entire process. And that's, it just goes to show the whole experience around video editing and filmmaking, because as a filmmaker, these things matter to you. It's not just the end result, but you're also experiencing the whole process of creating that video, creating that film, or creating that project is really important to you. So having that hardware, having those tools around you is just going to enhance that experience even more. Yes, you're going to spend a little bit more, but it is going to enhance that experience of video editing. So these are the top 5 reasons, as I could summarize, as to why there's a lot of editors and people in general that are switching over from Premiere Pro to DaVinci Resolve, which could really affect Adobe's dominance. In the future, we'll find out soon enough. Again, tomorrow they're reporting earnings, so I'm going to be super, super interested to learn where they are with their current users and the revenues and numbers and earnings and all that stuff. I still do believe Adobe to be a very good software company. Like I don't think, it's kind of a difficult assumption to make, but what I'm saying is that if Adobe on a net basis is still growing, that can still be a net positive for the company. In other words, if after watching these videos, let's say, 100,000 people switch over from Premiere Pro to DaVinci, but Adobe finds a way to attract 250,000 new people, they're still adding on a net basis, they're still growing. So that's a good thing. But if they actually start going down, even on a net basis, like there's more people leaving than the people joining in, then that's going to be a problem for Adobe's business moving forward, right? Because Premiere Pro, like if you think about their applications, their Adobe Suite, as we call it, is literally the biggest selling point for why Adobe exists, right? That's a pretty big deal for the company in terms of their margins, in terms of their revenue, the earnings. Everything depends on whether editors and filmmakers actually use their software or not. So just wanted to kind of make that video. And again, I'm not trying to sound the alarm here, but this is something definitely to be paying attention to. And as numbers will speak for themselves eventually, the numbers are what really matters. And if people are actually leaving, that will translate over to the numbers that will be shown in the numbers eventually. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think about Adobe, and what are your thoughts on DaVinci Resolve if you've been using it, if you are familiar with it. What are some of the reasons as to why you use it? So I would love to know. But I could also see myself switching over from Premiere Pro to Adobe to DaVinci if some of these reasons are actually correct. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it helpful. If you did, make sure that you drop a like, subscribe, and as always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.